All right, this is just a slideshow I had put together before about finding people for the temple, different ways. So this is showing, there's missing pieces in our family tree. Here's my dad, grandparents, but there's all these different little missing pieces, and the whole idea is to find the ones that are missing. Can you guys hear me okay? Because sometimes my computer's not very good.
Yeah, it's great.
Good.
So the goal, of course, is to get the names, find them, and take them to the temple. There's there's a really quick way, which is Ordinances Ready. Ordinances Ready is wonderful because it pulls names out of files of either close or distant relatives. They pull them out of my file all the time, which I'm so grateful for because that's how my temple work's getting done. So if somebody wants to do Ordinances Ready, they just go here to Temple, the drop-down menu, and click on it and choose the ordinance that they want. And for some people, that's kind of exciting for them because this person actually is a relative. They can click on that person and see how they're related to them. And for a beginner, that might be a cool thing to do to help them to learn how to take a name to the temple. And then at the end, I'm going to show you just a review how to reserve and print a name. So a kind of quick way, and sometimes there's, of course, a descendancy view like this right here, where you can go and look for empty spaces. But I also do it this way sometimes. I'll go to one of my really far back relatives or ancestors. These are my direct line ancestors. And then I'll just come down little by little, and I look to see if there's anybody who has a green temple without the little clock by it. And then I'll look and make sure that there's enough information that it makes sense and everything, and then I can reserve it. So that's sometimes what you can do. In fact, for one of my own clients, just a couple of days ago, I think I racked up like 30 names for her because they were all these Swedish names that nobody had reserved. And they all had exact dates and exact places of birth. It's just that somebody put them in there and didn't submit them. So that sometimes can be a way to find people that want their ordinances. So another kind of quick way, is to go to your fan chart. Just click. Now this is all over here now. So this is a screenshot from a couple months ago, but they've moved all of this right here to over here on this side. And so it's kind of tricky to find. So sometimes you can click on the fan chart and look here and see, and here's a green one right here, and I can double check it to make sure that everything's correct and then maybe submit it. Which reminds me of my green temple rules. When you do find a green temple, first of all, you have to stop. Does it make sense? Because oftentimes I come across in a family, there is a child that's in there. It's a duplicate of another child, but it just doesn't have a birth date in there. Or they'll have all the children are born in Virginia, except for one child is born in Colorado. You know that doesn't make sense. People didn't travel like that back then. And so, but when I see things like that, then I want to go find that child's real parents. And so sometimes you can do that and find that their temple work's not done. So look for duplicates and documents to support them. Family Search is so much better about finding duplicates now, but like I just mentioned, sometimes I'll find two children in the same family with the exact same name, but one doesn't have a date. And so Family Tree doesn't pick it up as a duplicate. And I always encourage you to find at least one document to support it, because if you do, a lot of times that will help to eliminate anything that might be a duplicate. And then, of course, listen to the spirit. And then there's the method that I do most often is no empty chairs, because I'm looking to make sure that everybody has been found. So let's go back and review. There's the really quick method. There's a kind of quick method. There's another kind of quick method. And now this is the little bit more difficult. But once you get into the hang of it, it's not really, it's kind of more like a game. It's kind of fun. So what I do is I'm looking for descendants. I go to the generation of greats who didn't die in Utah. Of course, none of mine died in Utah because my parents are converts. But I work for a lot of people who are pioneer ancestors. So I go back to the generation that didn't die in Utah, and they track the descendants of their children. And I'm looking for people who don't have spouses or children or have missing children. And then I do a little chart like this. This thing is in my way.
Why do you say they didn't die in Utah? Why do you eliminate Utah where they died?
Well, for most people, for my own clients, I checked them anyways, because I would discover that some of them went off to California, and there were some missing holes. It's just when people are starting, that could be really tedious because you're going to have to go through a lot of names to find them. And there's so many members of the church that are related to them if they came to Utah that, they may be working on those descendants. So for a beginner, I would say, go to the generation that didn't die in Utah, because you're more likely to find people who need temple ordinances than you are those who came to Utah, settled here, their children all were baptized, their children's children were all baptized, etc. But John, you are absolutely right. And I've done that for my own clients. I really make sure, because some of them did leave the church and went off, and they got missed because everybody assumed it was all done. So when I'm doing I'm very methodical, and I want to make sure everybody's found. So I have a Word document for each of my great-grandparents. These are my great-great-grandparents, Henry Despin and Elizabeth Frank. This is their daughter. This is Marianne's daughter. This is Susanna's daughter. This is the other Susanna's son. And I just go down all the way to 1912-ish or more, trying to look for people who got missed. And right here, all these spouses are the ones who were missed. So these were all in there, but these were missed. And then I just go back to Susanna's sister, do hers, and then do John, Eliza, David, Mary, Levi. Then after I've done all those children, then I go back. So it's like I come down and then I go back. But I can always see where I've been and where I'm going. So like right here, I left off at Isaiah Stroh and Laura Haskin. I put their PID numbers so I can get to them really fast. And I'm looking for a wife and children for Roy Lester Stroh. So that's just kind of the way I organize it when I'm doing it. No empty chairs for descendants. So let's say you found an empty chair. It's like Roy Lester Stroh doesn't have a wife. So what do I do next? My two best friends are trees and the census on Ancestry.com. Those are the first places I go to because it's one-stop shopping, especially if it's in the 1800s. When you get beyond that, it's a little more difficult. But, we're trying to help people who are just starting. And so we don't want to scare them off with the harder stuff. So I know I've shown you all this a bazillion times before, but here we go. And I'll show you why it's my best friend and why it's one-stop shopping. So I could just do a look for a tree first, maybe, because that could have everything that I needed. I'm just going to use Grandpa as an example. And I could put a birth here if I wanted to. And I always give it like a 5-year range just because that helps in case somebody made a mistake. And where I think he was born. Now, if I'm not really sure if he was born in Illinois, I could actually do state and adjacent states. I could even take out Illinois because Steinbeagle is a very, very uncommon name. Now, if it was Herman Smith, I'm going to want to narrow this down as much as possible. So I can go to a tree here and let's pretend, that's not even my tree. So let's look at this. Somebody else created a tree with my grandpa. But on this tree, you can see already there's some sources here. And if I click on his dad, there's some sources here. And there's pictures that they all stole from me, but they're spelling my name totally wrong. But it's okay. At least it gets me started. So let's, for example, go to a census here. Well, let's do a real search. Go to search. I'm going to census. I'm going to U.S. Federal Census. And let's say I want to go find them on, I could do a general for all United States. In fact, maybe I could just do that. I'll do Joseph. And I like to use these sounds like, similar, and initials just in case, especially if I had a middle name here. I'm going to put he lived in California because I happen to know that. But if I didn't know that, I could put Illinois there also because I know he lived in Illinois. So here he is on the census. But again, see the one-stop shopping here? If I did not know this, I could see right here that he was in the Spanish-American War. And he has a pension record, which I sent for. And the pension record told me basically the big city that he came from in Germany. He's not from that big city, but he was from around that big city. So it was very, very helpful to me. I can also see, now this Civil War thing, it just happens to be the same thing as this. I don't know why they put it under Civil War. But look at this. There's an obituary. And this is actually for his wife, which names all their children. So these two things are like one-stop shopping. When I'm doing descendant research, I rely on this a lot, heavily, because it's really fast to find things. Like, what's this right here? Alabama U.S. County Marriage Records. What if I didn't know where he got married? Look at this. It's even Joe Steinbigger. Oh, my goodness. Well, guess what? It's his marriage record to his wife, Lizzie. And so why would I even think they were in Bibb, Alabama? They settled in Illinois. But here they were. They both came first to Alabama and then went to Illinois. So this really can be helpful. And that's why those are the first two things that I try to help people understand how to use, because that's the fast way to do descendant research. And just let me mention that one good thing about doing descendant research is that sometimes when you have a difficult problem, by looking for their descendants, for all their children and their children's children, you often solve the problem with the parent. Because I always look, when I have a problem with a brick wall, I look for every obituary for every child. I look for a history for every child. I look to see what everything I can find out for every single one of their children and their grandchildren. And in the process, of course, I may find some people who need temple ordinances, but I also may solve the problem that I'm trying to resolve. So you add all the information to Family Tree and reserve it, and they're found. So since part of this class was supposed to be how do you print, how do you reserve and print a card, I'm going to show you. Home is currently experiencing some technical difficulties. Okay. So this is somebody I found this afternoon. I have a lot of Swedish ancestors. If any of you have Swedish ancestors, please come and talk to me, because that field is white, all ready to harvest with all the descendants, and they're really easy to find. So once I'm in here, I can click on recents, and it tells me exactly where I was last. I was at my grandmother, but I didn't want to see that now. I was actually right here at Ellen. So here's Gustav. I've already submitted his work, but now I added this afternoon, I added in his wife, and I added in these two children. So one fast way to do the whole family is you can come up here to the top and click View Tree. And I want to make sure I do it in the landscape view. You see I click on that right there, and I can do the whole family at once. So that's just a little trick in case you didn't know that. Let me just take out one of them so I can show you. Now, if you want to do, if you only found one person, you could just come here to ordinances and request it. And then it goes straight up here into Temple. So then I can go to Temple to my reservations. And when I click on filter, not printed, and here they are right here, ready to be printed. Just click, 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 and then click the word print. I don't want to print them right now. I probably will share them with the Temple. But that's basically how you do that. Okay, so that is how to find descendants in a nutshell. A very, very, very fast nutshell. So would anyone like to practice or have me practice on their ancestors and see what we can do?
So I got one on my great grandfather's, but the spelling of the last name on the census is doesn't exactly match with mine. And
the same person or not?
I'm not sure.
Okay, shall we look at it?
Sure.
What census is it?
Let's see. Okay, my computer's finally cooled down. Hold on. So, August Frederick Riddy, 1870.
1870.
And he was born in Iowa.
What's his name?
It says on his report that he is 8 years old.
What's his name?
August Frederick, Fredrick, Witte, Witte.
Wittee?
Yes.
And he's living in Iowa?
Yes.
So I'm putting Iowa right here for lived in.
Okay.
And we'll just do a search since that's kind of an unusual name.
Oh, it's just one E on Witte, Witte.
That's one reason I do these right here, because it should pick it up. Okay, so there is there's more than I thought there would be. So he was 8 years old, you said?
Yeah, it says record hint is in 1870, he was age 8.
Okay, and where was he born?
He was born in Reed Township, Read.
Okay, when we're doing a census search, you won't use that because it won't pull it up. So was it in Iowa?
Yeah.
Okay. So for the birth, you can't do it. Now for the lived in, we can put it. Where was he living in 1870?
Still in Iowa.
I mean, I can put a county in for a lived in.
I'd put Clayton.
August do you know his parents' names by chance?
His mother's name was Sophie, Sophie.
Because here's a family that pulled up, but the last name is so different, and it doesn't have Sophie as a mother. So is this a census that they already found him on?
That's a record hint that they found him on.
On Family Search?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometime. His mother's name was Sophie. Okay, let's try this. And they were living in Iowa for sure.
Yes.
What was the dad's name?
Father's name is, let's see. Fredrich.
Okay, I'm just going to put Fred with an asterisk. See if that will help. Oh, that's a Becker and a Hani and a Sanger and a Grunter and a Hollup. Oh, brother.
Weird.
Okay, tell me the PID number on Family Search.
It is K6 3G 59C.
K6, then what?
3G 59C.
Let me look at the record that you're talking about. August.
Yeah.
He's living in Clayton. And he is 11 on this one.
Yeah.
11. Yeah, no problem. Oh, brother. You gotta love Ancestry sometimes.
I have been born as 1861. But I noticed on this one that it isn't the same thing.
I'm not sure if it's the same family. But do all the siblings match? It looks like they match, and they're in Clayton, Ohio. So that's likely him. Because it looks like the parents' names are the same. He has siblings Henry, Herman, Mina. There's Henry, could be Henry Herman. And then where's
Right.
Mina? Frederick, John, and William. There's Frederick, Henry, Frederick, John. There's no William. So I wonder if William got missed somehow. Then there's a George, Dora, Emma. There's a Emma and a George.
Would that be the census taker who didn't write the name down right?
Possibly. And it could be that somebody was missing, like this William. He's not even listed on there. He could be a missing child.
I think William died early.
Okay, so you'd want to make sure that he gets put on there, because he might be. It's like one of Nancy's things, where she was just talking about where she found those missing kids. Okay, let's try this. I just am determined to find the census. Okay.
Because I'm trying to put together a family tree for a relative who I'm wanting to get her permission to do her sister, because her 3 sons didn't give me any permission and I can't find them.
Oh, they were born after 1912?
Yeah.
Okay, here I've got it here on Ancestry, but it looks like the same family because the names, you can see that Henry,
right
here as Henry. There's Frederick. They have the ages a little bit different, but look how close in age they are. Then you've got John, and you want to add William. Then you've got George, and I don't see. Oh, Dora is going to be Dorothy. Emma is going to be Emma. And then there's Louis. Oh, it's probably Louise, and they just wrote it wrong. Louis, it says, is a male. You have Louise as a female.
Yeah.
You just want to check the next census and make sure that Louis is really a Louise. And see, I can look over here. I can see there's a Nebraska state census I could double check. And see when I look at the actual census here and see if anybody's there. Look at the parents. And I can look at all these clues for Frederick here. Here's 1860. Here is, look at William and just see if there's nothing there from William, or there may be even a death for him. But there is an 1860. And so if you didn't have the 1860 census, you can find them there. They just have a different spelling. And here's
yeah.
right there. So, okay, so that was a real live example of finding somebody on a census and then looking to see that there's quite a bit of hints right here. Now, there are times when I don't run into hints, and it even has birthplace of Hanover. Now, you've got to be careful of these right here, these marriages, because they often are just off the wall. But you can always just look at them and see, does it fit one of the children? Do they have a child that was born before they came to the United States or not? But you just never know what's going to appear in some hints. Okay. Does that answer your question, Diane? Or did I get way off base?
Nope.
Okay. Does somebody else have a family that you'd like us to do a little bit of searching on? See if we can find a descendant.
You can try my descendant.
What's that?
You can try my descendant, see if you can find it.
You're breaking up just a little bit. Try again.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
His name is Chahatani Begay. I'm gonna have to spell it.
Okay, and was he living in the United States or somewhere else?
Yes, United States, Arizona territory.
Okay, go ahead and spell it.
CHAA. I think you put a D there. A C. CHAA.
AA.
Then it's gonna be a DINI. Last name is Chahatani Begay is B.
Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to do a general search because when was he born? Do you have an idea about?
Anywhere from 1880, around 1880, Arizona territory.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know.
It means no cowboy hat. Okay.
I'm from Arizona. Let's see. Here's a Calvis Chris Wiley. Was that his wife's name, Azoni Begay?
No, he's only got two kinds of spelling. It's only a
They have totally done a different spelling. Do you
it's just
recognize
only
any-
two kinds. It's always spelled either a CHA. Sometimes they'll put a space and then there'll be an ADINE.
Did somebody have given him a American? Do you recognize any of these names just by chance, though?
No, not one of them.
Not one.
Other than his written name that from the census taker. You can try to put a space between the two A's.
What about this right here? Was he a Navajo?
Yeah, that looks close.
Does that look like it could be it?
That'd be one of the closer ones.
What about these names right here? Do you recognize any of those names?
Let's see here. What year is this one? What year is this? A
1910 on the Navajo reservation. And he's born in 1877.
Okay.
Is that possible?
Yeah, that's possible. Man.
And this is his wife.
Yeah, two wives. Yeah, two of them.
This is a son. But we could look at the
What?
actual census and see if maybe they just wrote it wrong too. Which the census is kind of hard to read. But you can look here and look next door these people are living next door. Sometimes I like to look at neighbors when I'm trying to make determinations. And here's another person next door. Is this like a direct ancestor type person?
Yeah. When you look at U.S. Indian census, my grandma actually was under his household.
Okay. And that's the other wife?
Yeah, the Indian. No, my grandmother, my mother's mother, was actually living with under his household under Indian census records.
Okay.
I never seen this one, this version. This is a federal census regular. I never seen this one. But Denny Begay is
This is a
listed in the
1950 census for this youngest child here. Let's just look and see what that might do. I just kind of look to see if there's anything that's going to bring me any hints. Like this right here, Ashki Begay is living on the reservation in this clan right here.
Yeah.
And then he's living, I like to look to see who the neighbors are. Here's a Helen and a David and Ashki. Does that sound any
If only they listed a second clan, that would really help. It only has the first because it comes from the mom. The second clan, if it would have been accurate, would have been Ayakini clan. That would actually that would match with Chahatani because Chahatani is a Ayakini clan or Hopi clan. That's why he never wore a cowboy hat. Hopi didn't really wear cowboy hats. Only the Navajo people. Only Navajos back then wore cowboy hat, not the Hopi. That's why he gave him a name, no hat because he's from the Hopi clan, Ayakini clan. But it does not list that the son doesn't have the second clan. It only has the first clan. So it's really hard to.
Now, Helen, who is one of my assistants, I don't know if you've seen Helen on here before. Isn't she Navajo? I'm pretty sure she's Navajo, and she's a genealogist. I wonder if she might be able to help you if you need some help. Do you need, or are you pretty good at your own research?
I had to look further for this one. I never seen this one from federal. Only find his name from Indian census.
So do you think this is him? Do you think this is the right one?
This possibly might be the right one. there was only one name that you found on the entire Southern Navajo census in that region, central region.
You didn't
And
put
there
the
were
link
two
in.
kids, two children named after him. One of his son's name was also called Chahatani Penali, and there's a daughter, she married, and her name became Chahatani Gorman. Last name became Gorman, married name.
Name looks similar to that one, you know, and a census taker could be messing things up too, you know,
Yeah,
because sometimes they do that. Do you want me to send you this link so you can look at it a
Yeah.
little bit more? I'll put it in the chat. How's that?
Yep.
If I can remember how to do the chat. Where is the chat? Let me. Okay. Or how do I make us big again? Oh, I've got to stop sharing screen. Would someone else? Oh, okay. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Here it is.
Oh, it really helped. This was
I'm gonna put
if
it
this
right
had a
here.
first clan information. It doesn't say a first clan on this one.
Okay, so you can look at that a little bit more and see what you think, and see if there's
Okay.
any clues that you find from that. Cool. That was kind of fun. Oops, I wanted to go back. One thing I could have done here is I should have put Arizona. That would have narrowed down a lot of different things as well. And sometimes when I'm doing a search, I may, because the census taker could really botch the names, like you saw with maybe you weren't on yet, but my maiden name is Steinbeagle, and it was Steinbrugger in Alabama. So, you know, these census takers, they just don't always hear correctly or write them down correctly. So sometimes I do a search for the last name because the last name is easier to not mess up. You know, Begay can be kind of straightforward. I might just take out the first name and just look for all the Begays.
There'll be thousands of them. Will come out 1,000. Chahatani is very unique
I'm
name.
sure there are thousands, but I bet they're all cousins, and you can put them all together and submit them to the temple.
Not necessarily. So Begay in Navajo means son of.
Oh,
So the children were sent to boarding schools, and they were forced off their lands. They would tell the school administration their name, and of course they would recite the appropriate relatives, et cetera, in their family line. But at the end, they would say Begay, son of, and the white administrative personnel did not understand that was not their name. And that's why there are many Navajos who are named Begay.
well, thank you, Michelle. I learned something new. That's awesome. Well, and we need to get you in contact with Helen as well. So, can you put your email in the chat? And I can give it to her, and maybe she can email you in case you ever have any questions. But they may even be in the Social Security. But have to be creative in some of these searches. I want to show you one quick thing. If anybody's ever really serious about doing descendant research, what I've done is I've actually on my desktop, I've created a folder for each of my great-grandparents and my ex-husband's great-grandparents so that I can put these documents in there, and that way I can pick and choose when I want to go to a different family. So let's say I feel like working on the cars today, so I could go there and I could work on them, or I could go to the temples and I could work on them. So if anybody's really real serious about doing descendant research and finding everybody, that's just a thought. Okay, we're almost out of time. Do we have any questions or comments or anything I could look up really quick and see? Okay, we got there's your email. Okay, let me be sure and copy that before I lose it. Okay. So on the third Saturday, we're going to have a hands-on with learning how to do descendant research. I'll review the same type of PowerPoint again, but I also have another one that's more detailed that shows a little bit more how I keep myself organized and such. But have people come and bring their computers. If they don't have a computer, we'll open up the library, and so people can actually practice trying to find those descendants. And especially if people have ancestors from England or Sweden, or don't think that they have to do it just the United States, because the records are getting indexed so quickly that it's getting a lot easier to find them, especially in England and Sweden, and Germany's starting to pick up as well. So have people come and just practice and see what they could do. All right, let me stop sharing. Is everybody okay?
Hey, Diane,
Yes.
I have a question. I hit a roadblock with my ancestry in England. How do I research them now?
You know what? We should get together and send me an email. Maybe send me an email with the PID number of your brick wall so I can kind of
Okay.
look at it and I can give you some ideas. I'm not proficient in English research going back, but I know people who are. So
Okay.
in fact, my boss is actually, that's what he majored in. So I can find some ideas for you of things that you can do.
Excellent. Thank you.
Have any other questions or problems? Can't solve your problems. But
I have a question. I was thinking about helping people that are Hungarian to do family research work. And I just signed up with LinkedIn, and I was just wondering if I could go on that site and help people with Hungarian research on the computer.
with LinkedIn, are you looking for people on LinkedIn with that or something? Because I thought LinkedIn was more to help people find a job. Am I wrong about that?
Yeah, it is. But I was just gonna find out if anybody needs help with the genealogical research, and I could help them with that, on LinkedIn, or I could help them on what's the other one? Oh, geez, not Ancestry, the other one.
Well, one thing you
Yeah.
could do is advertise it, or ask one of us. We'll advertise it on the stake Facebook page and on our Family History Center Facebook page. So people have Hungarian ancestors, at least in our 3 states.
Facebook,
I could
yeah.
put it in the newsletter. I could put it in the newsletter that you're willing and that you're there on Wednesday nights. So if you want to do that, we're getting ready to send out our newsletter for June. So if you want to email me a little bit of information, and I'll put it in the newsletter, because I send it out to all the consultants in all 3 states. And that might
Okay.
go, and then things kind of spread word of mouth. It's like, oh, well, I have a friend who knows somebody who does Hungarian research.
Uh-huh. You said 3 stakes, or
Yeah, our Family History Center covers 3 stakes. And so I send out this newsletter for our stake, for Freedom Stake. It goes to every member of the stake. For the other 2 stakes, I send it to all the lead consultants, and then hopefully they disperse it among the members.
oh, okay, yeah. Mhm.
Any other comments before we close?
Yeah, I guess if I put it on Facebook and send it out to everybody, I mean, that's on Facebook, I'd get a lot of people.
You put it on your own Facebook page too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then I, because if I'm helping them with on the computer, then it could be anywhere, anybody. Yeah. Okay, that's thought.
Well, while you're on there, would you like to give us a closing prayer?
Yeah. But LinkedIn, a lot of people are on LinkedIn, and are not on Facebook. So
That's true.
I could throw that out there, and
Why not?
like doing a free, like a job that I'm not charging any money.
Yeah. Why not? If you feel impressed to do it, go for it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say the prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we're thankful for Diane and for the other, the Hugos too, and all the people that are helping us with the genealogy. And we pray that they'll help us to remember and help us to reach those people and be guided by the Spirit for those spirits that are looking to have their work done and to join our church on the other side and receive all those wonderful blessings. And we pray that they'll help our testimonies to grow and we ask these things sincerely in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
All for coming. Hi, Brother Larby. I can't hear you. I think you're talking though.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I have to unmute myself. Yeah. Yeah, I got your text, so I'll be working on that.
Yeah. Oh, and Brother Larby, we have a young couple who are willing to, they're started working in the Family History Center just as volunteers, and he will help with Spanish. He can do Spanish. So I'm going to introduce him to Sister Tapia and see if he can help.
Oh, that'll be great. Oh, we needed that. That was good to hear.
And so far, I went to, on the 5th Sunday, Provo First Ward had it on Family History and Temple. It was exceptional. They have a ward plan. They're implementing it. It was great. And then today I went to the 4th Ward, and it's the first time they had actually met. And they had so much great conversation, and they made a date for the next meeting that they're going to have. They've started a plan. So us meeting with these committees, I think is going to work. I think just asking them what they're doing and how they're doing it. So
good. This year is starting